Greetings, brothers and sisters, men and women all over the world. Welcome to another episode of the Blueprint Revealed. I'm your brother Fiji, and tonight we're going to discuss who is the enemy. Who is the enemy? That's what we're discussing tonight. And we're going to begin. If you have the Rod Emory version of the Blueprint Revealed, we're going to start on page 42, I believe that to be. Yes, page 42. That's where we starting at, page 42. And if you have the blueprint of a new concept, we are on page 40. So let's take this reading. October the 28th, 1982 letter regarding the awareness session document gave us a brief outline of who the enemy is. The October the 28th, 1982 letter was a one-page document, was an introduction to the awareness session that broke down the 33 pages, the 33-page document that dealt with the Woodlawn experiment. This is the 33-page document right here. This is it right here. This is it. This is it. 33 pages. When I came through State Field Correctional Center back in 1986, I made it to State Field in 1986. This was one of the documents that was given to all members of this organization so that we could read and learn what was going on. The 33-page document broke down exactly how gangs were created and how the local manifestation in Chicago dealing with the Father Daly, not Son Daly, Father Daly, and the rest of his co-hosts, Hurahan, and everybody else, how they all got together and got in cahoots and created gangs. Saul Alinsky and these men, they all came together. Bishop Brazier, Arthur Brazier, everybody was used as pawns in this here. Jesse Jackson was used as a pawn in it as well. So the 33-page document really broke down, gave us a total outline on how everything started, how gangs were created within our communities. When we are defined by those other than ourselves, the qualities assigned to us are used not in our best interests. Rather, they reflect the role that our adversaries intend for us to play. All right. When somebody else defining who you are outside of you, then you best believe that those who are defining you and telling you who you are, they're not going to make you view you in the best light possible. They're going to view you and judge you and define you in the light that's most negative, and so that it can fit their agenda. Because 9 times out of 10, they have an agenda that they are out to achieve. To add insult to injury, they would like for us to believe that the only way for us to relieve our conditions is through the government. The government. The same government agencies which in fact profit from our incarceration and destruction. The same government, the same United States government who the United States Supreme Court just ruled, came down with a rule in July the 1st that in the Donald Trump case, that everything Donald Trump did while he was the president, he's immune from any prosecution. So if Donald Trump had somebody killed while he was the president, he's immune from that. Right now, at this very instant, Joe Biden has the legal authority, listen to me, y'all. He has the legal authority to assassinate Donald Trump, and nothing, I mean nothing, absolutely nothing can be done to him in accordance to what the United States Supreme Court just ruled in the Donald Trump case. All right. Obviously, we are faced with the need to organize some inner-outer defenses to the open abuses of the system. Who is the enemy? are those who spread the system treacherous principles of deceit, negativity, indoctrination, and brainwashing. That goes both equally Republicans and Democrats, liberal as well as conservatives, because they are both trying to brainwash us with their thought process on what they believe is what's best for us. These are the very people that's sitting there right now that's making rulings on our lives and we don't even realize. These are the very people who have just ruled that the president, if you are considered as his political rivals, he can kill you. If you're a political op to him, he can kill you as long as he's the president and nothing can be done. Those who indulge in the criminal activities of teaching submission, fear, and love for an enemy who hates the very color black and is determined to commit genocides on a national scale. These are our enemies. It don't matter what color they are. It don't matter what political party they belong to. It don't matter if they're conservative. It don't matter if they're liberal. It don't matter if they're Democrat, independent, Republican, libertarian. It don't matter. If they are propagating submission, fear, and love for our enemy who hates the very color black, who hates the very color of who we are, who hates the very thought process of us believing and truly engaging in growth and development, that's your enemy. And your enemy, 9 times out of 10, look exactly like you. In the midst of a hostile racial nation whose racism is rising to the surface at a phenomenal speed, who of us is still so blind to our struggle for educational, economical, political, and social development that they are continuing to function in futile, petty ways? And I'm telling y'all, and I'm saying this here, education is first when it comes to growth and development. Education. So we have to be educated. Those who have been placed in position to educate and to lead in the education field, you have to educate. Because if not, you're still going to be operating in petty, futile ways. Then we have those amongst us out here in our community who so caught up on being in the know and being somebody and having a title that they can't even see what's going on within our community. They too busy looking at them. They too busy looking at the very people who's on the front line. They viewing them as their own enemy. That's what's sad. The very people that's on the front line, that's out here trying to make a difference within the community, within the organization, they are viewed as enemy by those who don't know. Because it's so many people that's out here that don't know what's going on, but they are in position where they can lead somebody. Look at these politicians. Look at the organizers in the community. These very people are in position, but they don't even understand what's going on. So it makes it seem like the person who really knows what's going on is causing a disruption, and that person becomes an enemy. Sad. Sad. We will not succeed until we fully understand the fact that the enemy is aware, disguised, determined, and mercilessly counterintelligence. Counterintelligence. That means everything that we are doing, their whole job is to do counter what we are doing. If we are teaching and propagating unity and discipline and togetherness and organization, their job is to this organization, this unity, this togetherness. That's their job. That's counterintelligence. And the very people that's doing this are some of the people that look exactly like us. Let me say that again. Let me get closer so y'all can see me. They look exactly like us. We must begin to understand that the mental acrobats involved in this system attempts to explain why our ability to change is non-existent. Even after serving time in prison, these mental acrobats are political in nature and are designed to discredit our movement through the news media by reducing it to the concept of a game. in the eyes of the general public. We are helping them. People, we are helping them. We helping them, some of us knowingly, some of us unknowingly, are helping the news media to define us as gang members. Because we are still doing the exact same things that we was doing in the past. That's what they view us as. But when in reality, the majority of us are living our lives in a positive and productive manner. But the news media who's controlling the narrative, they gonna spin the narrative and make it seem like the few is the many, and the many are the few, because the many, whatever the many is doing, is not being reported. It's not being broadcast. But what all the negative that the few is doing, that is what's being broadcast. For us to witness this level of trickology, yet to do nothing to combat it, is self-destructive. We have to know this. We have to do something about it. We have to continue to teach. We have to continue to get the word out. Teach. Teachers, teach. If you are a teacher, teach. There's no sense in you getting the information and harping it to yourself and not spreading it out to the rest of the people that need it. Teach. Ultimately, we will find ourselves and or our loved ones continuously being the victims of these unjust conditions. And then you know what we'll start saying then? The system is unfair. The system is unfair now because it's affecting us. But to some of us, we are suffering from what they call it, Stockholm Syndrome. Whereas we still blaming ourselves for a lot of the stuff that's going on to us. But for those of us who are in the know, you got to blame yourself. But for those of us who are not in the know, they're blaming themselves. They are strictly blaming themselves for what's happening to them. So whatever Joe Biden does to us, we blame ourselves for what Joe Biden did. Whatever the government is doing to us, we blaming ourselves for whatever the government is doing to us. We're not blaming the very people who's doing these things to us, who are putting us in these positions to do these things. We blame ourselves. But for those of us who has the information, that has the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to really know what's going on with us, and all we're doing is sitting on our backside, ain't doing nothing, ain't even spreading the word, ain't teaching, ain't trying to lead the people out of this destructive state, blame yourself. We must begin to realize that the end goal of this system, mental acrobats or trickology, is to keep us in a destructive cycle and coming back to prison. Y'all notice a few years ago, they was passing all these reform laws. All these bills was being passed for reform. Now go back and look at those same states today, and you'll see now that they are passing new get tough on crime laws. That's what they're passing right now. A few years ago, it was all about reform. Now it's all about get tough on crime again. And so when it starts getting tough on crime, y'all better pay attention to what the United States Supreme Court is doing. That's the United States Supreme Court. It's the highest court in the land. We have to remember that Jim Crow laws was legal. Black Code laws was legal. The Slave Code laws were legal. Plessy versus Ferguson was legal. All this was legal, done through the criminal justice system. It was done through the legislative branch. It was done through the executive branch. It was done through the judicial branch. All this stuff was legal. And without us realizing, we heading right back there. Do y'all remember a time when a slave master could kill his slave and nothing can be done to that slave master? Because that slave was the slave master's property. Do y'all remember those times? If you don't remember those times, go back and do your study. Do your research. Now we are right back in this stage again. And the president is the slave master. The president can kill whoever he or she wants to kill while they are in office. This is what's going on. This is the reason why we have to be more diligent to understand what's going on with us. Because of this, no one shall fight as hard to remove and relieve this situation as us. We who suffer from it. How can somebody fight for you when you won't fight for yourself? If we want somebody to fight for us, we have to be the first ones on that front line. And we got to put away all our petty differences. We got to stop looking at the very people that's on the front line as your enemy. They're not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm out here on the front line. I got boots on the ground. I am not your enemy. I am not trying to hurt you. I'm aiding and assisting us in our struggle for growth and development. Don't look at me as your enemy. Pay attention though. For centuries, this country favored the most effective strategy to conquer our people has been to keep them fighting amongst themselves. For centuries, this is what has been going on. This is what's been going on. Conquering a people, get them to fight amongst themselves. Now look around. Look around. Ask yourself, what are you fighting for? You're fighting the very person that looks like you, that's in the same boat with you. You're on the same slave ship. But you fight the person right next to you. Why? When you and that person is in the same conditions. Because this person has a little bit more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding than you about what's going on. You may have more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding than that person in another area. So take your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and help in this area. Let that person take that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and help in that area. Don't fight that person because they got more understanding about a situation than you. Maybe they've been experienced that before. Something that you haven't experienced. That's what goes on with a lot of our politicians. The politicians ain't listening to the people. The leaders ain't listening to the people. They listening to the very people that's got them doing it. They listening to the Donald Trumps. They listening to the Joe Bidens. They listening to the police chief. They listening to the detective that's up the street. They listening to the people that's playing trickery in your minds. They looking at the very people that's trying to dirty your brain up with nonsense. That's who they listening to. The divide and conquer technique is not merely accidental. It is an organized tool of destruction. Divide and conquer. You divide the people, you conquer the land. Now let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask you a question. Are we divided? Are we divided? You tell me. Are we united? Are we a consolidated and united group of people with an executive structure that deals with the well-being of all of its people? Are we a unified and consolidated group of people with an executive structure that deals with the well-beings of all of its people? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. ain't gonna let you lie to me. And stop lying to yourself. Our knowledge of this deliberate form of destruction should harden our hearts with an obsessive desire to become more organized and unified. Instead, as soon as our anger subsides, we allow our adversaries to move in and retake the grounds it has been forced to give. We must fear this mistake far more than the strategies of our adversaries. Look at all the work that we have put in. Look at all the work that we have put in. Where's it going? I'm just asking questions. Where is it going? Is it going down the drain? Has it all been for no? Are we so concerned about who is this, who is that, my name is this and my name is that, and I'm this and I'm that, that we cannot see the writings on the wall? Are we so concerned about that? Are we so caught up with that? All our progress that we've made is being flushed down the drain. Look at our community. All this nonprofit money. Let me get y'all to understand about this nonprofit money that these people are throwing around. Know where this money is coming from. Know who is giving you this money. The same thing that happened with the Woodlawn experiment. See, that was the Rockefeller Foundation. Walgreens was involved with it. All these big time people was involved with giving out this money. And all this money that was given out, they understood that the people that was receiving this money, they didn't understand what was going on. They enticed these people to go buy guns. They enticed these people to get into drug selling. They enticed these people to fight the very person that's across the street from them. Then what they did, they came right back around and started federally indicting people. This is what happened with our brother, Mr. Jeff Fort Bay, aka Chief Malik. This is what was done with Mickey Caldwell, Edward Bay, and a lot of other those brothers that came up out of the Black Peace Stone movement. They wind up going to federal prison for that federal grant money. It's the same thing happening today. All this money being thrown around, we chasing the dollar, not realizing where the dollar's coming from. I've had many people come to me and say, yeah, we gonna get this grant. Yeah, they finna give us this here. Yeah, we finna get this 3.5. Yeah, we just got a $350,000 grant. But do you know where that money comes from? Do you know why you was given that money? Do you understand what's really going on? See, all that stuff that was going on during the Woodlawn experiment when they was taking that land and it's just the University of Chicago wanted all that land, that was an organized ploy. They had to get the peoples up out there because they had already took High Park. So now they're coming for Woodlawn. So look what they had to do with Woodlawn. Now look how far the University of Chicago has spread. For those of you who live on the south side of Chicago or east, look how far Woodlawn, the University of Chicago, has stretched out. Now look at how up it was back in the 1960s. Same thing that went on with this projects. That's exactly what it was, a project. When they finished with that project, they destroyed that project. In that case, the Robert Taylor homes, the Ida B. Wells, the Durrell homes, the extensions, the Harold Ickey homes, the Henry Horners, the Rockwells, the Cabrini Greens. They destroyed them. Now look at the people. Look at all them people being displaced. They took all the people, put them out there in the suburbs, and brought all the rich peoples, Europeans and Negroes, middle-class Negro, they brought them back to the city. Once everybody was moving out there to the suburb, because the suburb was a nice place to live, now look at the suburbs. Now look at Harvey. Look at Calumet City. Look at Markham. Look at Phoenix. Look at Opal. Look at Bellwood. Look at these suburbs now. Look at Maywood. Look at them. It's more gang banging activity going on out there than it is anywhere. Because that means they took all those men and women who were displaced, living in Chicago public housing, the projects. They took all of them and put them out in the suburbs and spread them out throughout the city. Look at the city of Chicago. Look at it. Know who's giving you something. Know what you're accepting. Don't chase the dollar, because you're chasing the dollar gonna run from you. Continue reading. In order for us to grow and develop, we must face and overcome the challenges. However, in order for us to face these challenges realistically require power, persistence, and a thorough understanding of who our enemies are. As Malcolm X once stated, and paraphrase, when someone misuses you, you defend yourself. If they are inclined to continue misusing you, you move forward from defense to the offensive. Because our struggle is one of intellect, we must become intellectually offensive in our attack on these problems. Become an intellectual offensive in what our new concept is all about. How can we become intellectual offensive if we are neglecting the importance of education? If we are neglecting the new concept? If we are neglecting what the leadership says about we must be becoming intellectual offensive in what our new concept is all about? How? In order for us to know what our new concept is about, we have to be educated. So all of you who have positions of educators, you are an educator for a reason. This is real. Ain't nobody playing no games. What we are going through is real out here. Our peoples are dying. But we playing. So we're going to continue to play. Or are we going to really get up off our ass and learn what this new concept is all about? You tell me. And on that note, I would like to adjourn by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace.